Hello, hello. How are you guys? Welcome, welcome. Glad to be back here on YouTube. We tried to do this on a different platform, but this is a much better fit for us. Hi, Beth. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm super excited to spend some time doing something fun. I've needed this. Hello. Glad you're here. Is this is that Stephanie?
Can you lift the light a little? Or it's a little bright.
I can try. Is that better? If I stand a little further back. Whoops. That's better. So I'm getting everything set up. Give everybody a few minutes to join us. What have you guys been up to this week? We are almost ready to start shipping our September or our October kits. So I'm really looking forward to you guys receiving them and hearing about what you think when you actually get them in your hot little hands. They are beautiful. Just want to turn this on so I can see the chat. Fall is here and my front yard is full of leaves, and I'm hoping for a windstorm to come along to blow them down the street so they become somebody else's problem. How rude is that? Kind of rude. All right. I think I can see everybody. Kind of rude. Oops. Don't need to listen to me twice. Hey, Tina. You're babysitting your granddaughter, right? So your granddaughter, Tina? Was it 82? Tina, where are you? You're in the South somewhere, right? Or hello, everybody. Alabama. Yeah. It's beautiful here. The weather's absolutely lovely. But the leaves are falling. Babysitting your grandson. We don't have any grandkids yet. And in fact, this past weekend, I spent Saturday with my daughters, and we went to Whidbey Island and went to an area called Langley, and it has all these cute little restaurants and shops. And anyway, we spent the day there, and we were sitting there having breakfast. And I said to my youngest daughter, who is the only one that is in a long-term relationship, and I'm like, have you thought about anything happening in the future? Just wondering if we're, and she told me to mind my own business and that it's going to be several years before anything like that would happen. So yes, I've been told to mind my own business. I know fall break for many of you. I was talking to my sister last week, and she was saying that the first few weeks of school are always so rough, and that she's already had her fall cold, or the first of them. So, yeah, for those of you that are teachers, I'm sure that you're well aware of how that works. My cup. All right. So I think that it's a great time to get started. I'm not going to talk about a whole lot other than just mention our October kits. If you haven't seen them, be sure to head over to our website at www.hipkitclub.net and check them out, because we are starting to ship this week. And here's a peek at the papers if you haven't seen them. But this is just a tiny taste. The embellishments are fabulous. Are these? Nope. Embellishments are fabulous. We have chipboard titles with a resist effect, so you can customize them. Yeah, lots and lots and lots to choose from. So be sure to head over and check those out and place your orders, and you'll get them in time for when we do our Craft and Connect with our October project sheets, which I have begun working on. Our September project sheets were uploaded to our website. They're printable versions, and you can download them and print them. Oh, that's fabulous, Beth. I'm so glad. Yeah, so the September kit, all the project sheets are available, and we will be doing another Craft and Connect with our September kits, probably, I would say, within the next couple of weeks. So definitely grab whatever kits you want so that you have them on hand and you can create alongside with me or us, or however that works out. The other thing too is you can follow along using whatever supplies you have in your stash. You can use the project sheets as kind of a inspiration. There's a list in the description box for this video of the types of supplies that you need to gather from your stash to create the pages that we're doing. So, and some helpful tips and preparation. If you did it, great. If you didn't, it's not a big deal. I did most, but there's a few things that I didn't get to. The other thing that I want to let you know is, if you haven't visited our Craft and Connect community, you want to do that. It's free to join. We've got a challenge going on right now that closes on the 17th, and we've got a gift certificate giveaway with that one. I think it's $25. And then in addition to that, starting this Saturday, we will begin our weekly virtual crops in our Craft and Connect community. We have a streaming feature there that works very similar to Zoom. It doesn't work great for overhead filming like I do for our Craft and Connect videos and things that you need to see, like really nice details, and the camera flexibility is a little bit different. But for being able to hang out and create alongside with one another, and you get live chat, so it's not typing, you can just chat and talk, and you can choose to have your camera on or off. You don't have to have any additional apps or links or anything like that. You just sign into the community. There will be a little red notification at the top, and you just click on that and join in, and you're all set to go. You can have your camera on or off. It's fun to have them on. You don't have to be pretty. can be in your pajamas, you can be in your sweats, you can have bedhead, we don't care. Just join us and set some time aside for yourself to do something that you enjoy and get to know other people in our community. So it's a great opportunity to make a date with yourself. So make a date with us. So without further ado, I'm going to flip this camera and we will get started. Hang on just a second. It's gonna go black for a second, but I didn't hang up. I just have to switch things around just slightly. So here we go. Hey, almost there, peeps. And I'm going to flip the camera. It goes this way. You see my cats and everything else that's happening. Alrighty. That wasn't too painful. Better than it's been in the past, I'll tell you. So let me just make sure that I can zoom in and that I'm completely in frame. I want to make sure that you can see things nice and close up. All right, peeps, here we go. So for those of you that didn't have the joy of being able to visit our disaster of a live stream earlier this week, we kind of sat down and started to create this page, but it just wasn't a great fit for the streaming feature. So we decided to kind of hold off on that and start anew. So what we are going to do is we've got 3 project sheets, and if you haven't if you haven't downloaded them, you can do that on our website. Bob, can you throw that in the chat? A link to the project sheets? Can you throw a link to the project sheets in the chat? Perfect. So he'll throw those in there, and then that way you can download them. There's you can see the full 12 by 12 format that is obviously digital, and then you can also download the printable version as well. So these lights make it hot in here, so I'm going to take my sweatshirt off and we're going to get started. So without further ado, we during our last live, we kind of started this layout, and so that's why you see some of mine put together, but I did tear apart the parts that we'll be assembling so you could see how this is put together here. And nothing complicated or anything like that. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I can walk you through what we did so far. So the first page, what we did is we took what's the name of this paper? I want to be able to tell you the names of everything so that you know what to search for. And hopefully we'll get to all 3. If we'll do 2 and we'll see how the timing looks. And if it looks like the third one is a little bit more complicated, so we may take a break on that one and finish that one up later this week. So the first paper, no, it's all right. No, you know, they don't want anything to do with me until I'm doing something that they can't be a part of. All right, so the don't have, let me see if I've got it in here. I want to be able to tell you what it is. La, la, la. Okay, so we gutted the center of the, let's see, what's this called? Vibing the Day Away paper. And it is this super cute little fishy paper, and the backside are these concentric circles. But what we did is cut the branding strip off, and then we removed the center of the paper, leaving a 1/2-inch border, I believe. So let me double check on that. Yep, 1/2-inch border all the way around. And then we saved the center because we're going to use that to cut the paper strips. And I'll give you the dimensions for the paper strips as we move forward. But and then the back of this is just a simple piece of white cardstock. And this is totally optional, but I added foam adhesive underneath the frame here because I wanted to create a little bit of dimension, and I wanted to have that shadow that shows up when you add that dimension. So just adds a nice little detail. I use a lot of dimensional adhesive, and I know some people aren't a fan, so it's completely optional. You can glue it down. It's not a problem at all, and it won't affect anything that you do. And then the next thing, once we got this glued down, then I'm going to, hang on one second. I want to make sure that I can see everything all at once. And all right. Hang tight with me for just a second so I can get our chat. All right, so there it is. All right. And then I need this guy. All right. So then what we did, once that was done, I took a my T-square ruler, which this thing is, I love it. It gets used, and it was like the least expensive tool that I own aside from a pencil. I think that it was under $3 on Amazon, and it's great, especially for linear layouts like this, because you can make sure that everything's lined up. A lot of things, it doesn't matter if it's straight, but for things like this, when things aren't straight, you can really see that they're askew. So, and some people don't see that. I do on my own stuff, so that's why I use it. But I think it's a really valuable tool. So, and it's great for measuring too, because you know that you'll hit right center, you know, when you make your marks and stuff like that. So what we did is we added the blue paper along the edge, and then from the edge of your background, along the edge of the blue paper here, you want to measure in 1.5 inches on the top and the bottom, and then just make, actually I didn't do it quite right, but it's good enough. So about 1.5 inches, maybe just a little bit more than that, but not much. Just you know, you can kind of fudge it. And then on the side, you're 1.5 inches on either side as well. But what I did, so I went in and I made a mark at 1.5 inches, and I drew just a very, very light pencil mark. And this gave me a line to line up my first row of paper strips. And then in addition to that, I measured in 6 inches, which is the center of my page, and I put a little mark there as well. And so what I did is I started just with a basic eyeball, right? I started with this centerpiece and I put that in so it was lined up with the top pencil mark here, and then it was lined up, the center of this piece was lined up with the 6-inch mark here. So we knew kind of where our starting point was. And the hardest part about this is that just lining up this first row. And once you do that, everything else falls into place. So I glued this piece down, and then I took my, and I put foam adhesive behind each one of these. I use this white craft foam, and the one that I like the best is the one that has the sticker adhesive on one side. So you can put it down on your paper and set it aside, and then, or remove this sticky back and then put it on your paper. And then when you go to put it down, you add liquid adhesive on this side, and that allows you to kind of move things around a little bit and get them placed in the proper position before it's stuck, which you can't really do with the sticker. So that works really great. And the fact that it has sticker adhesive on one side, it just makes it faster. You can do it. There's lots with no stickers or no sticker or adhesive on it, and that works fine too. I've used that as well. But when I'm doing this kind of stuff and I'm actually filming, it's easier for me to have the kind with adhesive, so you don't have to watch water boil. So anyway, so what I did is I placed this so it's 1.5 inches from the edge, and then it's centered along where that white or that 6-inch pencil mark was. And then I used my T-square ruler and just made sure that it was straight. So going forward from that, I placed these, I did another pencil mark here and here at 1.5 inches. And then I put these two down so they were lined up at the top here where the first pencil mark was, and then I lined them along this side one too. And again, I used my T-square ruler to make sure that they were nice and straight. And then, so once those were glued down, then these two, all I had to do was center them between these two pieces. So then everything is aligned properly, and then you can go forward and add your other pieces. So these strips here are 1.5 inches by 3 3/4, and you need 5 of them. And then the blue, and then this little kind of wickery plaid, which I'll tell you the name of the paper. This one is called Shall We Dance? And then the pink one with the little waves, which I thought was kind of fun to use that one rather than, yep. The pink one with the little waves is called, next time I will write these down, but okay, here we go. This one is called It's a Jungle Out There. So 3 3/4 by 1.5, you need 5 of them, and then these are all 2.5 by 1.5 inches, and you need 5 of each of these. And so once these are glued down, then you can move on to, this is the base of your page, and we'll build everything from there. Do you guys have any questions? Just want to make sure that I'm saying what, or explaining myself well. All right, so let's move forward then. So the next thing that we're going to do is, one second, I just want to make sure that I am doing, all right. So the next thing we're going to do, now I don't have my photos printed, and that's a whole other story. And anyway, but I use like white cardstock as kind of placeholders, and then I can go along from there and add my photos later. It's not a big deal. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I give you the right size photos that you'll need. So you'll need one that is 2.5 by 3 3/4, and that's going to go on the back of this frame. It's really pretty if you look at it. It's got gold foil accents on it. I don't know if you can see the foiling, but it's really pretty. Okay, so what I did is I glued what would have been my photo to the back of this frame, and then I added some dimensional adhesive behind this. And the reason that I did that is because I have, this was like a double frame, and the chipboard die cut looked like this, and I cut it in half, and then I added the two smaller photos, which are 2 inches by 2 1/4, and I put those on the back side of this. The reason that we needed dimensional adhesive on the back of the frame is that we're going to slide these slightly underneath, and I want the center of the larger frame to be supported by the dimensional adhesive that's below it. Otherwise it might sink in the center. So that's just me. That's just a tip that I have. Some people like to do that kind of thing, and some people don't. It's entirely up to you. It's not something that is going to make or break your project at all. So, so we've got that. And so the next thing that we want to do is we need to glue down our larger frame. And so what I want to do, of course this has been glued down before, but we'll pretend that it hasn't. It'll look much better when it's glued down now. I am going to stick my straight pin there because I seem to always misplace those. So I'm going to add some liquid adhesive, and this is the Barely, what is it? Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, and I love this stuff. And the nice thing is that it comes with several different adhesive tips on it, which is really nice. Okay, and then I'm going to add some more adhesive to the back of these two frames as well. So this one I'm going to place down, and I want it lined up so it's about here. And I'm going to actually, I want it offset just slightly. So I want, just for the sake of I don't want this edge lined up exactly with this edge of this strip here. I want it to overlap slightly. And the reason I want to do that is because I want this to look like a cohesive piece. If I push it over too far this way, you're going to see a gap and it's going to break the layout in half. And I don't want to do that. So there we go. And then I'm going to take these two little frames and I'm going to add those. One of them, and again, we're going to offset these slightly, but I want to hide the right side of each of these frames. So I don't want to hide the photo itself, but I want to hide the frame edge. So I want as much of the photo, because the photos are small, I don't want them to get lost. So I just slip them underneath, and the upper edge is just above the blue, the edge of the blue paper on that strip. So being able to kind of alter and place things so that they're not aligned with other objects on your page, especially with something as linear as this page is, it just makes it nice to be able to have that overlap. So here we go. A little warped, but that's all right. I'm known to tear my layouts apart sometimes, so this isn't a big deal. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we need to gather the larger things that are going to be on this page, and that's the waves, this bold floral die cut, and let's move these things out of the way. And this is what I do. Actually, while I gather these things, I'm gonna put that back in there. Okay. So when I gather all my supplies, I have these little stackable trays that look like this, and I just gather all my embellishments and I put them in here. There's a few bits of foam adhesive here, but I take my puffy stickers, my cardstock stickers, and I stick them on the edge, and that's kind of how I sort through things. And then I have it all gathered ahead of time, so it makes the assembly part really easy. So we need that. We need the two clouds. Do I have both of them here? Where did I put the other one? Right. So the two clouds, and I have this all nice and organized, and there was a large die cut. All right, we might use this one instead, because I have seemed to put the blue one, I'm not sure what I did with, unless I didn't pull it out of the cardstock. Right, so let me look over here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. All right. Right. It's here. I didn't grab it. These are the cardstock stickers. I was missing that, so I'm going to set that there. So we need that, and then there are a few little cardstock stickers that we'll use as well and piece in there. First of all, let's start with our little clouds. And I think what I'm going to do is this little blue one, I'm gonna go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. I'm gonna glue this directly to the paper or to my background. And I want it, so this one's gonna be about, there we go. I was like, that's a weird color. So that one's gonna be about there. And then I want this one to go maybe right about here. Okay, so there's that one. I'm gonna put a little bit of foam on this one just to give it a little lift and create a little bit of a shadow between the two clouds. So we'll do that. Good grief. You know, when you trim your fingernails, it makes scrapbooking a lot more complicated. Okay, so we'll add this one here, and I just want to give it some space, and then I'm gonna make sure that it's sitting underneath my frame. All right, so there's that. And then I have added some foam behind the upper part of this wave. I don't need it on the bottom part, but I do want this little shadow to kind of stick up along the top of my page, or along the upper part of the wave. So let's go ahead and put this down. And it's going to sit right about here. Just going to hold that and make sure that it sits in. And then I put 2 layers of foam on this one because I want it to pop up on the frame here. And I need to be able to place this where I want it. So I don't want the leaf to be going exactly up and lining up with the edge of my, I'm going to pull it just a little bit out here to the side because I want to see some of this yellow here. Don't want to lose that. All right, I think we're good. Let's see, add just a little bit more here. All right. Okay, so there we go. So the next thing we need to do is I'm going to take this little guy here. Has some really pretty little details that you can't see, but they're, and honestly, if you didn't know they were there, you might not even think, to remove them. But there's some little dots there that are pretty little details. So I'm gonna lay this down. And because it's so detailed, I'm not gonna mess with trying to put foam adhesive on this, but I am going to use my anti-static tool that I use for, don't want powder all over my desk, but I use it for heat embossing to keep the embossing powder from sticking all over your page. And so it works well for removing, or not removing, but removing the sticky part of the sticker, so you can move it around. And there was probably some cat hair on that, so I don't want to glue that to my page. But then when I put this down, I can just add adhesive along the center here, which will allow the leaves to kind of be able to move freely, so to speak. Good grief. Note to self. Okay, so I'm going to place this slightly under our frame, and I want it to sit about here. So it's just going to glue. I'm going to leave it alone, and then once it's dry, I'm going to kind of use my paper piercer. Actually, just in case, I'm going to use my paper piercer and just lift up some of these little parts, details on this leaf. So it's glued down nicely, but by being able just to lift up some of the parts on it, it just gives it a little bit of dimension, but no bulk. Okay, so then the next one that we're gonna layer is the this green leaf. I'm gonna try not to get, and I'm using my powder tool on this one as well. I just kind of, sometimes I do this as just a precaution, because oftentimes when I put stickers down, I'm not quite sure exactly where I want them placed as I cluster things together. So this allows me to be able to move them around somewhat. So since that's going on top of the frame here, I'm going to add a little bit of foam underneath. Somebody's looking for food. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here, and then that's going to add a little shadow as well. I'll add a little bit of adhesive here and here. And then I'm going to place this right here. So it's got foam here, and then it has 2 layers of foam at the bottom part. And that just helps to support this bottom part of that leaf. Okay, and then we need to add our little yellow flower. And this one isn't very big, so I'm not overly concerned. So we'll go ahead and place some foam under this one. add a little bit of foam here, or glue here, and we're going to slip him so that he is just under the frame. And we're going to grab some extra goodies as well. I want to make sure that I'm not going to leave a hole here. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the word trapped white space, but see here, I don't want that to show. So I want to make sure that all of the other little bits that I'm adding here are going to cover that up. And we don't have any problem at all with that one. So I'm going to add this little floral guy. He's going to tuck just slightly under the frame here, and then this guy's here. All right. Everything's kind of moving around just a little bit because nothing's quite dry. All right, and then this guy, he needs foam. So let me find a little piece. You know, I bought these little mini Teflon scissors, which are fabulous, but for the life of me, I can't figure out what I did with them. But they're great because they don't get all gummy when you cut sticky stuff apart like this craft foam. So, okay, so this guy, he's gonna go right here. And he'll have a little bit of dimension as well. So I'm kind of sticking him on top of that leaf just a bit. And I want to make sure that I think I'm going to add another foam dot here because there's that little hole there that he's falling down into. And I don't want him to, all right, I don't want him to just not have any dimension. And the great thing about this liquid glue too is if you see it's a little bit gummy here that I've kind of made a mess, it's not a big deal. It will dry clear. All right, so there we go. And then, so we have all of the pieces for this step. So we've added all of our large pieces of patterned paper and our large photo. And then we went in with our larger embellishments, the 2 frames and a couple of the more substantial die cuts. And then now we're going to do all of the finishing work, which is the fun part, right? Just want to make sure that, does anybody have any questions this far? Make sure that my chat is still live and that I haven't lost anything. All right. Okay. All right, so here we've got, this is what we've got so far. And now we're going to add all of the little details. So we'll add our title, which is going to go right across here. And we're going to add, this one goes to a different project, as does this one. But we need our little airplane that's going to go over here. And we've got a little little beach house that I'm going to tuck underneath this leaf, which is a good thing that I didn't glue it down too much because I want to tuck this in right here. So here's that. And then we've got another little detail, little puffy flower, and put some foam adhesive right here so that it, I need, you know what, I think I need 2 pieces. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot even begin to tell you how much easier and more smoothly this is going than the last one that we tried to do on school. And this guy keeps moving around. So for those of you that don't know, we have 5 cats. So if you hear cats in the background, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to put this guy right here. And he is, oh, I guess I need glue, right? Okay, so here, it's going to go about right there. Move him down just a little bit. Okay, and then we've got our little passport guy. And I think he also is going to need 2 layers of foam as well. So we've decided that our cat Melvin is going to be our Craft and Connect mascot. He gets into so much mischief, I cannot even begin to tell you. He gets everywhere that he's not supposed to be. So the other day I was busy getting some stuff done. I was doing laundry, and I think I'm gonna let this guy go under this flower thing, except that's not really what I wanted to do. So anyway, I was doing laundry and I took some stuff out of the dryer, and immediately I always close the dryer, and so I walk out of the room. Fortunately, I wasn't turning the dryer on, but I walked out of the room, and when I walked back by, there Melvin was, sitting in the dryer, looking out, like, when are you going to let me out? And yeah, he is brushing with death. And I think that if he ever gets outside, he'll last about 2 minutes. The boy has no fear. He has an affinity with garbage bags and any other kind of bag. You know, like sometimes when we're packing and shipping orders, when we ship our international orders, they get bundled into these big yellow bags, and he'll jump in there while we're packing away. And yes, it's lucky he hasn't been shipped off. Okay, so then we're gonna add a little cute little drink here, and a little sticker. This is like a little inner tube, and I'm wanting it to go about right here, I think. Okay. And then this little starfish. And now we need to add some foam behind our airplane because it just doesn't look quite right without it. So does anybody have any good TV series that you're watching? I'm so glad that you like the way that the instructions are set up for you. I think that that is one of the things that people struggle with the most when they see like a page that has a lot of layering to it. Being able to figure out how it's constructed is like the hardest part. And I think it is the one thing that makes people shy away from trying something that has stuff on it, you know, that, or one of the things that make people shy about like trying something that's outside their comfort zone, because people don't want to waste their products and, you know, create something that they're not happy with, but also too, just not knowing where to start and how to move forward makes it really hard. So being able to break it down into 4 really easy to follow steps is a game changer for a lot of people. And I think that put a little bit of glue here, and then we need to put our plane, and I want him to sit about right here. Except he needs to be going up into the air and not crashing down into the waves. Okay. Next, oh, you know what? This guy, I made a mistake here. I hope I can peel him up. Ah. All right. Yay. Crisis. Okay, so what we're going to do here is half of this guy is supposed to be here, and then half of him is supposed to be up here. So we wanted to use him in 2 places. And he'll give some of the little word strips a place to kind of, it'll anchor them. However, with all of the extra dimensional adhesive I have here, I'm going to add a little bit behind him. And this one says, a beautiful place. Has anybody been on a tropical vacation recently? I have not. We tend to go on skiing vacations as a family right around New Year's. The last year I don't think we did. It's hard now that our kids are older to get everybody, you know, to have time off and be available to get together at the same time. And the other thing that has been really weird is when, like the holidays, right? When your kids like are involved with significant others, you have to share them. I'm not a very good sharer when it comes to my kids. I know I'm going to have to do that, but it is something you never think about, you know, when your kids are growing up. You just think the holidays and they'll stay the same, and, you know, we'll have everybody home and together all the time. Okay, so here, good grief. Okay, so I need to either place him on top of the plane, but I think I want the plane to be over the edge of my little strip. Come here, Melvin. Come meet come meet our friends. The other thing that's funny about Melvin, he is tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. He's like 7 months old, and he weighs maybe not quite 7 pounds yet, which is kind of small for a cat of his age, I think. Our other cat, so long story short, but my, and I think that I've talked about him before, but, or the, how Melvin came to be. My daughter went to go get a kitten, and so I went too, as, you know, emotional support. And Bob looked at me and he's like, don't you dare come home with a cat. Well, I did. And he and so Megan got a cat the same time. And there wasn't a whole lot of like size difference between them. Come here. Come say hello. Come say hello. Say hello. Say, I'm sweet. I'm sweet. Oh. Yeah. He oinks like a pig, and he kind of grunts when he eats. I don't know what kind of an animal he is. But anyway, my daughter got her kitten at the same time, and her kitty was a little bit older and slightly bigger, but her cat just took off growing. And Melvin, to this day, Megan's cat weighs, now granted he's a big boy, but Megan's cat weighs about 14 pounds and Melvin weighs 7. So it's kind of funny to compare the two of them, because I need to be able to have the lower part of this have a little bit more support, because the other part is going to rest on the frame. And hopefully I have this going the right direction. Yeah, so that's better. Except for the fact that this little part here in the middle. What am I doing? My gosh, I almost did this in an hour. Do you know how amazing this is? Oh, I can't even imagine when the kids have kids. Tina, that would even further complicate. Then the grandparents have to fight over the grandkids. Yikes. That would be, that'll be a tough one. My mom was always very gracious. She always came here during the holidays. Because it was nice for the kids to be able to play with their toys and you know, especially once they got a little bit older and had their friends. All right. Do I want to move this? I think I want to move this just a little bit. So this is a little, I'll hold it in place for a second so that, see, the problem is that the edge of this frame is a little bit warped. What do I have? There we go. All right, I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and then we'll take a look at it once it's dry. Christmas and Thanksgiving are the hardest. Yeah, I agree. Probably having them over the day after is nice because Christmas Day is crazy. I was talking to my middle daughter this past week, and before my mom passed away, she would buy everybody matching Christmas jammies every year, you know, and she would choose them, and you know, that was the one gift growing up. Even today, it's the one gift that they open up every year on Christmas Eve. And anyway, now that tradition has fallen on me, which I totally love and enjoy, but I do get feedback. My mom never got feedback, but I get feedback on what they like and what they don't, what they wear, and I'm picky and I don't like this, and this one likes that, and funny girls, funny girls. All right, I am not going to worry that this is kind of popping up a little bit. I can fix that a little bit later, but here is the finished page. A little bit close. Let's see. Am I still too close? I am. Here, I'll go up a little bit closer so you can see all the little details. Oh wait, you want to go this way? This way. See how pretty? I think that if I tilt it this way, maybe you'll get the light better. Anyway, very, very pretty. Love, 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 love this collection. So these are the goodies in our August kits. Alrighty, so let's move on to layout number 2. I cannot even believe how quickly this is going. Okay, so what we need to do with this one is we also need a sheet of white cardstock for our background, and we need set this aside, I don't want it to get, the swimming pool paper, which is called our Oasis. And with this, we are going, and I'm going to show you a fabulous little trick here. Whoops. Show you a fabulous little trick here for removing the center of your paper. I showed somebody the other night when we were hanging out, and now I just need to find a trimmer. Okay. first of all, let me trim the branding strip off. Now the one thing that I do like, this is not my favorite trimmer, but the one thing that I do like about it is that it has like a little wire, so you know where your blade is going to go, so you can tell if it's straight. Because oftentimes when I'm trimming off the branding strips, sometimes it gets a little crooked and wonky. All right, so here's that. This is the branding strip, and see, it didn't even go completely straight, but it's okay. Actually, I am put that here. Just want to make sure this is right. My favorite trimmer is my guillotine trimmer, the big tonic one. Had it forever, and that thing doesn't miss a beat. Love it. See, these are my little stackable trays, so they work really well, unless there's stuff poking off the top. But if there's not, then you can just kind of store your stuff inside, and then you have everything right there where you need it. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna just quickly measure where I want this. Now, I want to cut this so that there is a very slight aqua border. And so I'm going to place this on my trimmer so you can see where the blade is going to go. And it's going to leave just maybe like, looks like about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to put my trimmer blade in the center, and then I'm going to turn this direction so I can see really well, and I'm going to move my trimmer blade, which needs to be changed, by the way, but I'm going to move it to where I want the blade to stop. Now the trick is, usually you have to eyeball it, and I never quite get it right. So what you do is you hold your trimmer blade, and this particular trimmer, which is a Fisker's trimmer, these little blade guides, they've got like a little ridge here, and you can take these tiny little binder clips and you can hook them onto your guide. So then you take one and you put it on this side. So it's all lined up for you, right? So I just want to make sure that I went all the way. And so all you do after you set it up is you lift this and you put it down where the little wire here is lined up with the edge here, and then you just make your blade go back and forth. Not quite work the way that I had anticipated. Ah, damn it. Oh, sorry. Never mind. It didn't work. I sent my binder clip flying. All right, well, we'll eyeball this side, but it'll show the other side. If your blade is nice and sharp. Okay, so this and here. This was supposed to look a lot better than it is, but you know what? These are handmade, people, so. All right. Well, typically, I did it with the little blue fish paper, and it looked much better. So honestly, you know what I'm gonna do? Where's my craft knife? There we go. Craft knife saves the day. Craft knife and a T-square ruler. You can't go wrong. Okay, so there's that. Because I tell you what I just did, all I can say is don't do what I just did. But if you do, and you get it wrong, then you just use your craft knife and you clean it up. And the key with a craft knife is to use a sharp blade and don't use too much pressure. You just go over and over and over again. All right, let's see here. Scissors to go over to the edge because I must not have needed it. You know what? It's probably good to see things not turn out perfectly, because I think oftentimes people see the pages that, you know, our designers make, or, you know, that other people make online, and, you know, your first inclination is to think, well, how do they get it so perfect? You know, and then I don't. Most people don't. There's usually some fails that go on before you get it right. And honestly, like, even with like our project sheets that I do, I am a massive overthinker, and it takes me a very long time to actually create my designs. You know, had I not have tried that little trick, we would have been done with this by now. But it is what it is. All right, and now this last little edge, and we're done. But anyway, what I meant to say is that things just don't always turn out perfectly, and you just go with it. And oftentimes, I don't know if any of you feel this way, but sometimes I'll be working on something and I think that I hate it, and I step away until like the next morning, or, you know, a day later, and then I'll either decide that I like it, or I'll be able to figure out where to take, what direction to take the project to make it work. And so usually there's a lot of ideas that are born from things not going quite right. All right, did I get this all the way? Ah, see? Now we're good to go. Dang. Save that for something else. Now this is another one that because of the nature of this paper and the amount of white that's here, I want to, this just got a chunk of paper that I don't want there. Okay, so because there's so much white here, I really want that shadow in the center. So I have a sheet of craft foam somewhere. But, oh, here they are. The nice thing about these sheets of craft foam too, if you have a guillotine trimmer, you can cut them into strips. And so they make the process of adding larger, longer pieces really easy. So what we'll do here, and the thing about it too is that you do not want to stretch it. If you stretch it, then it's going to warp your paper, because the stuff is, you know, made out of something rubbery, and it does have give to it, but it will shrink back. So, you know, once you stretch it out, then it's definitely going to shrink back, and then your paper will kind of warp. So, and nobody wants that. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad that my disaster helped. Yeah, I got a lot of things, which sounds so morbid, but anyway, for a couple of different reasons. Like if you're gonna back something on another like piece of paper, you don't want to waste the center. But also too, I love creating a frame, or you know, it kind of looks like a picture box, if you will, when you layer something that has the center cut out over the top of a background. So I really enjoy that. I think it's makes it look really interesting. So I'm gonna do just a little piece right here. The other thing that would make this really easy is if you had a roll of like 3M tape. The only thing with that is that it's really expensive, and so you'd use a ton of it. So this is really inexpensive. I think for like 35 sheets, I want to say it's under $10. I think it's about 8, to be honest. So has anybody done the pumpkin patch yet? Is it too early? I saw my neighbor just posted some photos. They have a new grandbaby, and they went to the pumpkin patch the other day with their older granddaughter and the baby. And I always loved pumpkin patch photos. There's something with the lighting this time of year where the colors just end up being perfect. So do this. there, and we're almost there. Just need to add some more of my foam. And here it is. See, it comes in, oh, this was just a 10-pack. I think I ordered the 10-pack because I could get it overnight. And this is what I mean when I've got so much stuff laying around here. I'm going to set this here for just a second. And then I'm going to set this on top of it. And I'm going to take this. This is what I was saying about this trimmer. It's not pretty, mind you, but you know what? It works. Like, you never have to replace a blade. It cuts perfectly straight. 15 years after I've gotten it. And then you just cut these strips, or these sheets into strips, and then you can, then you can cut them into whatever size you want. But it makes it nice and easy, and it's completely inexpensive. So I think, and I think it's a lot less expensive. And I like the fact that you have adhesive on only one side. There we go. So look at that. Have a whole bunch of them. In fact, I will add a link to these in the description box if anybody's interested. Because it really is pretty nifty. Your granddaughter doesn't like to be still. Our middle daughter was a little like that. In fact, when our youngest daughter was about, I don't know, she must have been about 2, maybe 3 months old. She was tiny still, but we would go and visit my mom in the summers, and we'd spend about a month there when the kids were little. And so we went and to visit my mom, and while we were there, I decided that we were going to go and get their pictures taken. And I think we went to Sears or something like that. And I had gotten them, all 3 of them, these adorable little red and white gingham sundresses from Baby Gap, I think, or Gap Kids, Baby Gap. But it's hard to find matching things for kids in various sizes, because our oldest daughter was 5 at the time, and she was really tall and lanky, and then our middle one was 2, and then of course Mackenzie was she was about 2 or 3 months old. And so we get them all dressed, and we're going to get the pictures or their portraits taken. And the baby's great, Megan's great, and Madeline, for the life of her, could not hold still. I think we finally got photos of all 3 of them, and we got photos of Megan by herself and Mackenzie, who was the baby. We got her by herself. Okay, as I'm trying to put the lid on, or this pin in here so that it doesn't get all gummed up. You have to have 20/20 eyesight to do this. There we go. Nope. Boy. You know, it'd probably be helpful if I'd clean off the, then you can kind of see where it's, okay. Anyway, by the time we did Madeline by herself, she was completely flipping out and throwing her dress over her head. And so finally I'm like, just sit there and do one and we'll go get candy. We'll go get a sucker, we'll go get, so I had to bribe her. But the pictures did end up being really cute. And in fact, I still have, I wanted to keep all of the dresses in case we had granddaughters. Because you never know. You never know. Okay. So here is the foundation of our page. And then we're just going to grab some of the larger items. So I pulled everything that I needed for this page aside. Get rid of this trimmer. You know, when you think you have a lot of room and then you get stuff out, you quickly realize that you don't. Okay. So we need the rainbow frame. We need the little green frame. We need this little film strip, and we need to remove, you don't have to do this, but it's such a pretty little detail when you take out these little or these little squares. Actually, I think it's easier if you do it when you sit it down on the table. All right, makes it a lot faster. And you always want to punch them backwards, because if it's gonna like get stuck and tear slightly, doesn't matter if it's the back part of the chipboard that gets messed up a little bit, but you don't want the front part to tear in any way. So poke them front to back. All right, and here we go. I'm just gonna pull these out. All right, so there's that. We've got our pink frame. We have our little rainbow tag. Don't need those. We've got our little pink label, the orange ticket, the blue ticket, and the orange circle label. I think that those are the few pieces that we need to start with. And then we need our photos. So photo sizes, we need a 1.5 by 2 2/4, 2 1/4. And that one is going to fit inside this pink frame. Then we need one that is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And that one's going to fit in that one. And then we also need a couple of little pieces of white cardstock to back, let's see, to back these smaller frames, because we are going to be layering underneath this film strip, and we don't want all of the extra layers to show through. We want it to look nice and clean. So this guy, use my trimmer here. This guy is about 2 by 2, so I'm going to cut this down to about 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. It's funny, you know, I have a trimmer that I like for different things. And this guy is just slightly under 2.5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So slightly under 2.5 and slightly under 5, which this only goes to 4 inches. So let's just measure this. 1, 2, 3, 5. Just make a little mark here. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to quickly take and add our adhesive to the back of the frames. And some of these, if you make your photo just slightly larger, you've got about 1/4 inch to play with on your photos. So you just don't want anything that is like necessary for your photo to be butted up at the edge there. Okay, so hopefully that will work okay, because this one's pretty tight. If your photo is slightly smaller than your frame, you can add it to a piece of white cardstock and then secure it so that it's covering the entire, so that's covered by the frame. It's this one. All right, so there's that one. And then, see, this one I did, so it's going to be nice and easy, knowing that I wanted that extra space. So there's that one. Then we'll take this, and I think maybe I was a little bit wrong. Okay, so I'm going to this down slightly. This should fit better if I am still off. Nope, that's perfect. Perfect. other thing I'm going to do, look around on this, and if you have little edges where you see bits of chipboard poking through, if you nobody's going to notice. Only I am going to notice that. And I'm just going to add the adhesive on the edges here, and then just down this part. Okay. And then we'll just get him down and kind of straighten him out a little bit. It's a little bit warped. And then we've got this little guy. He's got a little more give around the edges. Okay. Alrighty. So all of our frames are good. Now, one of the things, don't forget, it's on the instructions, but we are only using the top portion of this tag. We're going to use the lower part on a different project, so cut that, and we want to save that. So, yeah. So you don't want to use, or you want to make sure you separate that. Okay. So what we're going to do here is I am going to add some foam adhesive behind my frame. Now, I'm going to do 2 layers because I've got foam adhesive between these 2 sheets, and then I'm going to have another chipboard frame up here that this is going to go over the top of. So I need that extra height to be able to do that. But the other thing to keep in mind as I'm putting this on here is I'm going to add this only to the lower part, because I do have a lot of this that's going to layer over the top up here. So this is going to kind of sit like this. And so I didn't want the foam to be above where this lip on our background is. Okay, so I'm going to then take an additional layer of foam, and I'm going to layer it on top of the 3 little strips that I've already added. And I'm just going to place these things first before I'm going to put one other little piece over on the right side, this right corner, because this is going to have something under it, and this needed some support here. Okay, so then this guy is going to go, whoops, here. And then we've got just want to make sure that I've got to look at this and see. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't using part of this anywhere else. So this one also is going to need some dimensional adhesive, and we're using the gold parts on the outside. So we want to make sure that our foam adhesive is toward the bottom. It's going to be layered underneath. In fact, you know what? In an effort to think that, who knows, you might want this, part of this for something else. These little pops of color, and just, I'm going to save this for something else because I only need this piece here. And so I am going to set him so that he goes about right here, but I need to put my foam adhesive down for him. And again, towards the top, I'm going to be overlapping the edge of our background, which has dimension on it. So we want to make sure that we take that into account when we place our dimensional adhesive. So this is going to go about right here. And then we'll add some dimensional adhesive behind this guy. Because, and like I've said before, if you aren't a fan of dimension, you don't have to do it. Just glue it flat. It'll look great, just the way that it is. But if you like this kind of thing, you can easily add some foam adhesive to your project as well. There's a lot of different options, and you don't have to feel like you, and like if you see a flower that you like better than one of the others, then by all means, use it. Okay. So here's this. This goes here, and then we're going to use a little bit of this. I'm going to cut this down in just a little less than half, or the slower piece is going to be a little more than half. So this is where I cut it, so you can see. And it doesn't have to be straight, just ballpark. So these are kind of what the layers are going to look like over here. And then we've got our layers on the bottom half. And again, we're going to do that same thing. We're going to add some foam. Keep in mind that the lower part of this, and there is gold on this. There's a couple of little phrases. It says fun in the sun and caught on film. So you want to make sure that your words are facing the right direction. All right. Bit as well. Now you could add little photos if you have, like, you can do little photo collages, and you can choose the sizes of your photos. And so if you did that, you could add some small little photos here if you so desired. Okay, so this is going to go here. And then we've got this guy, and we'll add some foam behind here. Exactly. So this is going to overlap. So I'm going to put my dimensional adhesive towards the right side. Here. And in fact, it can be on both sides because it can. All right, so this is going to sit about here. And then we've got some other little bits that we're going to add over here. And I'm going to cut this guy in half because I'm only using a part of it. And he's going to sit about right here. And then I've got this little orange guy is going to go over here, and I want these little gold bits to show. And I thought that I've got another little tag. Like a little pink label somewhere. And let's see. Crazy, crazy. Look how many pretty things are in this kit. I did not even. I'm looking for my pink label sticker. And for some reason, blue one. Okay, you know what? We're going to use that. We'll use that. Is it? Oh, here it is. Duh. There we go. I knew I had it somewhere. That's why pulling things aside ahead of time is really nice, because it makes it a lot easier. And you don't get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that you're working with. So over there. Okay, so we've got this guy goes here. And then this guy is going to kind of go about here. And then we've got our little ticket that's going to sit here. And our little circular label that's going to go here. But this just kind of gives you an idea of where everything is going to sit, so that when you start gluing it down, you place things where you want them. Okay, So what we're going to start with, let's start on the bottom corner here, and I'm going to put some adhesive on this frame. I'll probably add some here to the bottom as well. I try not to get my adhesive super close to the edge, then that way if I have something that I want to layer underneath, I can slip things under. Okay. Let's drop this just a little bit. All right, so there's that guy, and then we'll add a little bit of it's overlapped a little. So I'm going to add some adhesive, some glue here, and then we're going to glue this pink frame so that it sits and it's overlapping. This lower frame. And so I have it offset so that it's not lined up with the bottom part of this frame here. And so it's overlapping this edge too. So, but I do think that I need an extra piece of foam under here. Oh, it's, I guess it will. All right, put some here. So there we go. And again, you could use a T-square here, but I'm being brave. Okay. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of foam behind this label because I'm going to slip something else underneath there. And like I said, I wanted the little gold foiled lines to stand out here. You know, take this, cut the edge off. It's to be able to sit underneath here. All right, so there's that. And then on this side, put that aside, and I'm going to add a little bit of foam under this piece as well, towards the outside, so that this can slip in. And then we've got our little pink frame, and I want to remember, I think that this one I'm going to go ahead and glue flat. And again, I want the gold lines towards the left. Since I'm gluing these right next to one another. this is going to sit about right here. And then this guy is going to need, see, this is what happens when I can't see the forest through the trees, when I've got a million little backing strips. This guy, you'll finish your page in the morning, no problem. Oh, you have, Laisha, you've got a, who's sick? That's all, it's so hard. It seems like once school starts, that's a never-ending battle with sick kids. And I'm gonna trim just the lower part of this off so that it fits and nests in there the way that I want it to. And I want this to have just a bit of dimension. Okay, so this part. Thanks for joining me, Tina. I'm glad you were able to make it. You have to be sure and share your page when you finish it in our Craft and Connect group. It's always fun to see everybody's finished projects. Okay, so here's this. I'm actually going to tuck that in just a little further. And then we've got our little ticket piece, which is going to slip under there. So what I need to do here is I need to add some adhesive here, and we're going to take this stripe tag and we are going to slip it under. So that got a little bit of glue there, but that's all right. And then I'm going to take our little ticket, and this is actually going to sit under here. So I need to add some glue behind him. So he's going to sit here. This girl, this one's going to go here. I want to pull him out enough because the stem, we're going to put like a palm tree here, and I want the stem of the palm tree to sit right in this space. Okay, there's that. And here's our little orange label. A little bit more adhesive there. Okay. This wants to overlap there. So there's that little cluster. And we'll let that sit for a minute before we add our palm tree. And let's put these together up here. So we'll start with this striped frame. And everything to the side. And I want this to sit about right here. Okay. And then this one is going to tuck underneath. And again, you want to make sure that your words are facing the right direction. All right, so there's that. There's this. Okay. And then we want to add our little this guy might need a little extra foam on the lower part because put this in the right place. But this part has foam on it and it's going to rest on top of that lip and okay, so that's going to go there. We've got this lower part of this tag. It's going to rest under here. I'm thinking, and then this guy has 2 layers of foam, so this one's going to need more also. All right, so we'll add some adhesive here. Oops. I'm trying to see how I want this to work. Yeah, I have it right. And I want to scoot this up scoot this up because I want it lined up so that none of the white is showing. But I also want to leave that little gold detail that's at the top of that tag. All right, so here we go. So here is kind of the foundation of, well, the first layers of the page. And then now we will add some of the pretty things. So we need this little pink floral piece. We need our palm tree because how cute is he? Probably should have had that lowered a little bit, but that's all right. If I need to put a layer there of some sort, I can do that. And then, let's see, I've got this guy. So I'm gonna let this one, this just allows me to move him around a little bit. And that way I can kind of fold in. But this one for sure, I'm going to want to have some foam underneath. And we've got some leaves, so I cut a couple of wonky pieces. Here. And here. And then this guy is there and there. Okay. So he is going to sit right about here. Left and right. It's kind of I think that this one is going to need a little piece on this underneath the blue leaf. There we go. So I want him to sit about right here. And then we've got all of my little bits and pieces. Here's another. I'll leave this here. Sorry if you guys can see my cats love to hang out on my desk, and so therefore they leave some of themselves there. Okay. So this one is also the blue. This blue one here is going to glue right down to the paper or to the background. And then this little aqua one, I'm going to put some foam underneath him so that he'll layer there. We'll have the little aqua one. Then we've got our little tropical flower. So there's that. And then we have, let's see, no. I fussy cut a bunch of things out, so I know that I've okay, so we need to find my stashes of flowers. Here we go. This will work. Should have an orange one, right? Look here. So I cut a bunch of flowers. There we go. Okay, so we've got this guy. I'm definitely putting behind him. And then we've got this guy. These have been sitting here for a bit. So one about right here. This guy's gonna go and put in under there. And then we've got this one. So we'll add some foam behind the leaf. I'm just going to make these narrow. Okay, so there's that. And then I think this guy, I'm also going to put a little bit of foam behind. And this one, I think I'm going to put foam behind him too, because he's white, and I don't know why I'm calling them names, but this one, it has a white border, and I want to be able to have a little differentiation between the white border of the sticker and the background of my page. So if you don't add that shadow, that white on white, you just kind of lose your embellishment a little bit. So I'm going to do that there. And then where did my little lavender leaf go? I'll do this. These. I need like a little tiny trash can on my desk. Does anybody have one of those? You like dimension? Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm glad that you're impressed with it. I just want you to like it. You don't have to be impressed with it. Inspired is good. Okay, so we'll add him there, and then I'm going to kind of cut the base of this guy off because we don't need that, because it's going to be have a layer over the top of it. And then this one, I just don't want any of the edges of this sticker to get stuck on something that I don't want it to stick to. Add a little, another piece. I really like the shadow that adding this foam adhesive gives, and I always like when I see pages that have like a lot of detail like this, I just want to touch them. It's like when you go to like, what's the name of the Papyrus, the card store, and they have all of those beautiful like handmade cards. Well, I don't even know if they're handmade, but they're they've got a lot of detail. And so we're gonna set him about right here, and then we've got our little flower that is going to go right. Can you believe that he might need 3? Which seems like a lot, but this is gonna sit right down in that little trough. There we go. go. So I like that. And then where did our little, here's this guy, okay. And he is going to go right about here. Okay, so there we go. And then we need to add our little palm tree. And I love that this palm tree is like not, it's kind of not traditional. Love the wonky colors. It's kind of pop art, right? Okay, so then just cut some little squares to hold the little fronds out. So we'll put this piece here. And some of these little, and then this one there. And this guy, put right here. I'm careful when I do add dimension to my pages to make sure that everything has enough support so that when you slip it into your page protector, that it doesn't get, nothing gets bent or torn or folded. Well, folded and bent are the same thing, but you don't want anything to get pulled off your page or marred in any way. So if you make sure that all of these little the delicate parts of these shapes are adhered well, it's going to make your pages last. And that's the other reason why I use liquid glue too. I think that it holds things in place better. Honestly, once you glue it, it's not coming up. All right, so now let's just add some adhesive to the back. All of our little foam pieces here on our palm tree. And we'll put this down. Okay. I want him. I don't want foam guys over on this side because he's going to sit on top of, all right, here we go. This guy didn't want that either. Sometimes you kind of have to just dang, that's bugging me because I added add so much foam behind that that orange circular tag. This isn't sitting right. So I'm just adding an extra bit of this is where it gets kind of finicky and you have to like Tetris things together. It's not so bad when you're doing it at home, but by yourself. Okay. And just one other little tiny piece. And this is going to make this so much better. Okay. So now it needs just a bit. In the center here because it was kind of collapsing. I think that this should work. Yeah. All right. Yeah, see, if I had left it that way, it would have made me crazy. Okay, so now just add a little bit more glue. And make sure you stick it where the other glue was. There, see, you never even would know that it was an issue, but it looks much better that way. Okay, so now we've got all these little pieces done. So now we just get to add all the pretties. And so we'll get to that part. So first of all, we're going to put our little Sunny Vibes. That's going to go over here. We're going to add our, oh, we didn't put these on yet. That's okay. We'll do all this at the same time. Our hot stuff. And then we've got our little, we're going to build our little palm tree village over here with our little beach hut. Got here. We'll put our little seashell right there. We've got a little yellow flower that's going to go there, but he is going to overlap just slightly. So I want to add just a tiny bit of gum adhesive on this side. See, that supports the whole thing. Ah, of course. So cute. And then we've got a little tiny green seashell. Honestly, I think this guy, I just want a bit of foam behind him as well, because he was kind of falling into that little hole down here. I can place him where I want him without making a huge mess. All right, so there's that. And then this one, go there. And then he, just a little bit. He sit here, and we're just going to set him about right. I want, there we go. So I kind of wanted the edge of him to be sitting, there we go. Just overlapping slightly. Okay. So cute. Okay, so there's that part, and then let's start layering over here. Put some adhesive or some liquid glue on the back of all of these pieces so we can get this little cluster put together. And I know that I want this floral guy to sit about, gosh, probably about right here. There we go. And I've got something that is going to sit in this space here, so we're good to go there. And then we'll take this guy and we're going to kind of slide him over here. But I think sometimes if I'm doing a lot of layering and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put things, and I've added foam. Oops, here. Dang it. Let's see, I think I'm going to peel back this layer for a moment because I need to put him about right there. Okay, so there's that. And then we've got our little green guy over here. And he is, I want him to kind of slip in over here, but I think we don't need the bottom piece of this. We just want the edge that's gonna pop out. Okay, so this is going to tuck. There we go. And it's going to tuck in there. that stuff is going to sit right about right here. Oops. And that could probably use some foam to support that as well, but we're not going to mess with that right now. And now we've got a couple of little flowers. I've got one that's going to sit there and one that's going to sit here. And I want foam under this guy. So he is going to sit about right here, but I think I want 2 layers. This is where it gets tricky when you've added a bunch of stuff. You can't remember how much dimension you need to add behind all of the many layers. Okay, so this guy is going to sit about right here. And then we've got our little yellow guy right here. So I want, there's a little hole here, and I want to make sure that it gets covered up. So we need to place these so that they cover the little void that is sitting there. And this little one, I think I'm going to drop this just a tad. Okay. And this guy, I'm not a tweezer person, but I wish I was. Because make things easier. Because of where this is going, I'm adding the foam kind of inside here to support that. Okay, let's see. See, that's moving all over the place. All right. Then this one is going to sit right here. And then I'm going to put a little piece of foam on. Bob? just don't want to be able to see that. All right, now we're just gonna move this, put a little bit of adhesive here, and this is gonna sit right here, and it's gonna cover up that little hole. And I might even add another little puffy sticker or something there to kind of fill that in, because it's kind of being a hot mess. Let's see if I can get this to sit where I want it, because it's kind of collapsing in. All right. Dang, it's the little things. I'm gonna hold that there for just a second so that it stays, and then I'm gonna find a little puffy sticker to layer over the top of it. Most everything that I have left are little seashells, which is fine too. Maybe man, that is tough right there. I think part of my problem is that thank you for bearing with me. As I try to get this flower put in the right place. There we go. Well, problem is I think I've done it. All right. Let's set that there for just a second. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and do the upper spot. You know, it's the layouts that have all the tiny little pieces that take the longest. All right, so put a small piece on the right outer edge. Actually, let's see how this is going to go. Actually, all the way. Yeah. I'm going to put foam adhesive all the way across, and then I'm going to put a second layer on the left side. so that it will pop up just a bit. All right, so this and this, and he is going to sit right there. And then we have some other little flowers. Of course we do. And then these are the ones that are going to fill in those little holes. And I'm going to do this right this time. Okay, so little squares go. Okay, so there's these two. And I am only needing one little piece on this one. Sticker side here, some glue. This guy is going to sit about right there. Wonder if I can pull this up. Yay, okay. So I think I put this one about right there. And then this one needs some more glue. Okay. Gosh. This one, there we go. I think I like it like that. It's kind of sitting there. And then I should have a little purple flower, but I don't know what I did with it. So we're going to use this guy. And a little yellow one. Put him right here. There's that. Here's this one. That's one more little layer because it's not sitting right. We're almost there. Okay. So that one can go right there. And then I have a little blue guy that is going to sit right here, but again, it's just a tiny, 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 tiny piece. I don't know, maybe I need to start using less dimensional adhesive on the lower levels and then add it to the top, because when you start adding the little baby layers, all right. Hang on 1 second, because this is bothering me. All right, I'm gonna pull this over here. And then the little, my hands are covered in glue. This guy will sit here. And then this one, I don't know where I'm going to put him, but note to self. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to make these, I don't even know what they were called, but they were like these little I don't know if they were dioramas, but she would take these little, like, almost like little figures off of like wrapping paper. Whether they were precious moments, I don't remember, but she would, actually this I really want to be on top. So we are doing, anyway, she used to do these little cards where she would layer, like, she cut out the same figure multiple times and she put little, I mean, they must have had foam adhesive back then, maybe. Seems odd that that would be a thing back in the 70s, but I remember these little like card things that she would make, and they would frame them. But my mom was always like very artsy. Perfect, this is much better. All right, so we've got a lot of little bits there. Okay, so all of this is now glued. I'm going to put that there. And now the only thing we have left to do is add our title. So we've got this guy, and because everything else has so much dimension to it, I'm going to add some to this as well. And again, if this isn't your thing, you can leave it off. And honestly, it would probably make your page a lot quicker to put together. But I seem to like to do things the hard way. All right. Okay, so here we're going to put him. or you'll be glad when I'm done with this. I'm hungry. And then just one more little piece. I think this is going to be, yep, that's exactly what we needed. Now just add some glue here, here, and here. I just need to push this up just a tad. Okay, there we go. And finally, I need my little alphabet stickers, and these just might be some of my favorites. See how cute they are? There's like a little aqua drop shadow on each of them, and there's a little white inline also, so they're super cute. Okay, summer, and we need D, and there's little centers in these that you can pop out as well. Okay, what a mess I've made. D, A, Y, S. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Y. My head, sorry. Always happens with titles. Perfect. Okay. So this, drop this down. I'm going to add some liquid, just so that some liquid glue, so this just stays in place. G. A. I see people use, I know I say this over and over again, but I see people so gracefully use tweezers for this kind of stuff, and I'm just all thumbs. But you know what? My all thumbs get the job done. Okay, there's that. And yes, perfect. Alrighty. So I think, oh, we have one more thing. Actually, a couple more little bits. We have a little chipboard phrase that says adventure. It's going to go in the upper right hand corner of this frame. And then we have the Another little chipboard phrase strip. It's going to go right here. Love this place so much. And it's going to sit right there. And there we go. 2 pages down, you guys. We did it. Do I have another one? Oh, somehow I have 2 of those out. Yeah, so I think we did it. And I think that the one thing I think that I need some little something. I want to use like this little no, I feel like I want some little something there, and maybe this goes here. And then over with this, I feel like there needs to be something there as well. And this would work, I think. It's a little bit more pigmented than I would like. What else do I have? I have a green. This could be cute actually. No, it's not a flower. Yes, it does. That looks ridiculous. Okay, let me see what else I've got. I've got here. Oh, here we go. I'll use this little guy. And I'll put like a little, I only have to put 1 piece. So it's going on top of a bunch of stuff. But, one second. Great. All right. So let's some glue here. Have this guy here. Oh my gosh, you guys, my fingers are so sticky. Okay. All right. I just need to scoot it. Oops, sorry. That's noisy. Every time I move anything, my fingers stick to it and move it. Okay. All right. This guy. Goes right there. And I think that I'm just going to put down. Yep, there we go. Stick it to my finger. All right. I think we're good to go. I just need to clean up my mess and put this back so that I don't ruin the applicator. Of course. All right, so all this can go, and then we'll take a close-up look. I'm glad you like it, Chanel. Oh my gosh. You can't create without glue on your fingers. Well, you know, you end up with things randomly placed when that happens, that's for sure. That's where tweezers come in handy, but I simply can't get them to hold what they need to hold in a place. And then I get glue on them, and then everything sticks. So, but this turned out super cute. I'm really happy with it, and I hope you like it too. So here's the other thing too, is when you put this much foam adhesive on your pages, they are sturdy. So I'll kind of give you like a little oh, see, I'm going the wrong direction. I can never figure this out. There we go. Up so you can see the little palm trees. Up too close. Anyway, there you go, people. I'm glad that we got these done. We're going to do the third one, but the third one is a little bit more, it has a lot more to it. I wonder, I think, I have the page that is done, I think. I just don't, oh, here it is. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished so that you can get a good idea of what we're making. I haven't added the stitching to it, but so this is the third page, and I need to find what I'm gonna use for backing on it, but yeah, like everything else, my cats have probably sat on it, but anyway, this is layout number 3. It does have a little bit of fussy cutting on it, so you want to make sure that you do that ahead of time. All the pieces are kind of you'll see all the directions, and so you'll know which pieces that you need to fussy cut ahead of time. But it's a fun page, and I love all the layers. There is also a cutting guide for all of the lengths of the paper, because this paper that we use is like a scene. See if I can find it here in my stack of things. But yeah, so it's a little scene. So it has different colors in different areas. Here it is. So yeah, so it's like yellowy down this way, and then it's got your blues up in this direction. And then the orange piece, or the orange pieces, are also on this same paper. So you have to be careful with what you cut. So there is a cutting guide for this paper, and you'll want to make sure that you take a peek at that and cut your strips accordingly. And then afterwards, you'll just want to make your notches on your paper strips so that they're just cut on a diagonal like you would a ribbon. And then you can run stitching down these if you want. So that's just an option, but you don't have to do it. And again, this one has lots of dimension as well, but I'll pay attention to what I did when I made it so that I'm not having to fight with my page as much. So hope you guys are excited about this one. So I will post the details for this one. The other thing, we've got a Crop and Connect, our first virtual crop in our Craft and Connect community, coming up on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast. This is Nuds. Say hello, Nuds. Say hi. Oh, Melvin. Say hello. Anyway, yeah, just one of the many cats. And now you can see why I have cat fur everywhere. Anyway, Friday or Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time in our Craft and Connect community. Just gather your stuff, grab your phone, log in, you can turn your camera on or not. Don't feel like you have to be pretty. I'm probably going to be in sweats, and it's just a get together. There's no rhyme or reason. You can work on whatever you want to work on. You can drink coffee and chat with us. You can do whatever you'd like. So yeah, so I hope that you will join me, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So with that said, I'm going to bid you good night. Oh, look how cute that is. Huh. Anyway, I'm going to say good night, and I will see you guys on Saturday. I hope you'll join me. There's a link in the description box to join our Craft and Connect community, so you'll be all set up. Yep, see? It's a party here. They're a little late, but they're here. Say goodbye, Melvin. Bye. Have a great evening, you guys.